Yeah. Zoomers can hear me or see me, but that's okay. I won't be up long, but I want to say welcome. We have some Zoomers that are joining us. We'll have this presentation on the LifeQuest Facebook page. So if you wanted to share it with others or see it again, or what was that date, it'll be on our Facebook page so you can see the recording. But I want to introduce to you Leslie Bate from Collette Travel. We partner with Collette. We have for several years. We've been to Spain, Ireland, and Maine. Where else? Did we go? Yeah, I think we did before my time.
Before my time also.
Yeah. We had a trip to Italy or Greece and COVID. And so one of the reasons why we work with Collette is that when there have been necessary cancellations, they've honored those. They've been easy to work with. They've been easy to connect with. And Leslie is here in person to share with you some upcoming trips. She's just been back from Morocco and Ireland herself, and now she's in the land of Little Rock. So welcome, Leslie.
Thank you so much. I am so excited to be here. And I am so excited to talk about these trips today because some of them that I've been to are all amazing destinations and some of my favorite places in the world. So I will tell you a little bit about Collette first, and then I'll jump into the trips because I know that's what you're really here to learn about. Collette has been around 106 years. So we started off in 1918, and we call them seasons. So really it's our 106th season. Started off taking motor coach trips from New England down the coast to Florida. And now we've grown to 170 different tours, 160 plus different tours through all 7 continents in the world. So we're excited. We've been around. We've learned a thing or two about guided travel and what you want and what you expect. And we don't want it to be the same thing every day. So we've really learned to change it up. Sometimes different trips have different things, but it's not always going to be a motor coach. Maybe you're on a boat or on a tuk-tuk or zip lining through the rainforest in Costa Rica. Different ways to get around, different dining experiences. So sometimes you'll have, occasionally you'll eat, typically maybe breakfast in the hotel, but usually dinners and lunches you are exploring the local cuisine, trying different restaurants, maybe a hosted home meal, farm to garden to table meals at a vineyard. We change it up so it's not the same thing every day, and you're getting to really experience the culture that you're visiting. We have been around, have been available through different tragedies in the world. I mean, we were there for the Great Depression, the World Wars, COVID. In COVID, we gave back $175 million in cash, whereas a lot of tour companies gave vouchers for future travel dates. Collette, so that's not going to work for us. We want to make sure that people can use the money now as they need to. It wasn't about travel at that point. So we gave back the money, whichever way they paid for it. If it was on their credit card or if they wrote a check, that's how they got compensated back, including the insurance, which a lot of companies also held on to. We gave that back because it wasn't your choice to have your trip canceled. Like Leah mentioned, I'm Leslie Bate. I represent Arkansas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. I'm the business development manager for Collette in that area, and I'm from Lafayette, Louisiana. I'm a mama to my 7-year-old beautiful little girl, Maggie, my handsome fiance, Lane, and my special little friend, Cam, that I named Cam Newton. And then that was actually me in Morocco a few weeks ago, and then Ireland about a month ago. So I love to travel. I understand the passion why you're here and why you want to do it. You may have heard of Collette from Wheel of Fortune. We've been a sponsor for their trips for almost 30 years. We've recently partnered with the Hallmark Channel, so you may see us there too if you watch any of the Hallmark Christmas movies. So we will start with Western Canada's Rockies, lakes, and wine country. I love to slightly embarrass myself with this one and say I went to Canada in April and wasn't the least bit excited about it. The country blew me away. It is one of the most magnificent sceneries, backdrops. It is breathtaking every time you turn your head. So I love this one. I was there in April. A lot of it was still frozen over. This is the best time to go. You will see everything in its full glory. The turquoise waters, the beautiful mountains. Glaciers are still going to be there. It's just not going to be as cold as it was when I was there in April. The dates for this one are July 26th through August 3rd. We do have, most of the rooms are doubles. We have a couple singles, few singles and triples available. So if you need a single or a triple, get your reservation in early because those tend to sell out quickly. It's really what the hotels will allow us to have. So you will fly into Calgary. You'll spend one night in Calgary, a couple nights in Banff. You'll go into Revelstoke, Kelowna, and then Vancouver. Calgary is a great, fun city. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Houston with the Stampedes and the Western wear, and it's a fun area. This tour overall is what we call a level 2 out of 4. So it's a well-balanced approach to travel. You may walk 2 to 3 miles over the course of a day, but you'll have time for breaks, slowing down and resting. You may have some uneven grounds, maybe, so a few steps, things like that. But again, plenty of time to slow down, take a breath, relax. We don't want you to be exhausted at the end of the trip with this one. So there's plenty of downtime as well. And some free time to kind of explore on your own. So again, you'll start your trip off in Calgary. It's a cosmopolitan city with strong Western roots. From here, you'll get to see the Bow River and the Elbow River. And part of Bow River is the Bow Falls. It's a short little waterfall, but it's absolutely beautiful. You will get to discover the cowboy spirit of Western Canada with a stop at a local ranch where you will learn a line dance, enjoy a wagon ride to look for buffalo, and then sit down for a barbecue lunch. Then you'll continue on to Banff, where you will have the evening to explore this absolutely beautiful little town. It looks like something out of, a Hallmark movie. It is absolutely spectacular. It's got the mountains in the background, the perfect mountain town at the bottom. You'll have opportunities for a gondola ride, hot springs, and plenty of wildlife sightings. Banff is also Canada's first national park. This is Bow Falls that I was mentioning. It's a little fall, but it's absolutely beautiful. When I was there in April, it was still mostly frozen, so it just had the center strip that was flowing, but you will get to see it in all of its glory. Thank you very much. This is a walk to the hot springs. It's a little narrow hall to get in there, but once you get in there, you get to see the beautiful rock formation around it, and then of course the hot springs. You'll enjoy the time in Banff in the afternoon. There's a great little ice cream place. I know it's in the mountains, but when you're there, it'll be a nice time to get ice cream. So stop in, get some ice cream. You also have an optional helicopter tour if you're interested in doing that. That will take you up into Mount Assiniboine and enjoy that. That night, you will meet up with the rest of your travelers for dinner. So regarding the helicopter tour, if you are into that, you'll leave the ground behind and behold incomparable beauty of the region in the helicopter tour. Nothing compares to the total exhilaration of soaring above some of the most beautiful scenery the world has to offer. And we do make this one an optional excursion because we know not everybody wants to fly in a helicopter, but I will say, if you want to make the most of the trip, do it, because it is something that it's one of those things you've only experienced so many times in your lifetime. And the actual flight's only about 30 minutes. The next day, you will head out to the famous glacier-fed Lake Louise, which, again, spectacular. The colors of the water there are unlike anything we see in South Louisiana, and probably not much like what y'all see here either. So y'all do have hot springs not too far away. when I was there, the lake was still completely frozen over, so we didn't get to see the beautiful turquoise, but we were able to walk around on it. Y'all will see it. The colors are magnificent, and it's a high altitude area, so just kind of prepare yourself for that because it is, in the Rockies. You'll enjoy lunch at Ski Lake Louise Lodge before boarding the mountain gondola to go up to see more beautiful views, and keep your eyes out for wildlife because you will probably see some wildlife as you head up there. Now, the gondola ride, I will say, is weather dependent. So if it's blowing too hard or anything like that, we're not going to put you on it because we want to make sure you stay safe. And then the stunning scenery continues on your way to the ski town of Revelstoke, where you'll pass through several national parks on your way. You'll continue onto the fertile lands of the Okanagan Valley, British Columbia's most celebrated wine region. Taste some local treats and meet people who call the valley home. And then later you will arrive in Kelowna, where you will settle for 2 nights. Then you will have your choice on tour. So this is all included. You just get to decide which way you want to go. If you'd like to do a walking tour of the city, you're welcome to do that. Well, okay, a walking tour, and you'll go by some of the famous landmarks. You'll hear stories about the old grizzly hunters and just get to enjoy stretching your legs and seeing the beautiful city. Or if you choose, your other option is to do the Indigenous Land Tour, where you will get to meet some of the Indigenous people and learn about their history and ceremonies that have been important to their culture for years and generations. That afternoon, you'll explore on your own, and then you will travel to a local vineyard for tour, tasting, and dinner. The next day, you will head west for the dynamic seaport town of Vancouver. Vancouver is gorgeous. There are parks everywhere. You'll visit them on tour. You'll have an optional tour to do the Chinatown Dinner and Discovery, where we'll have a guide take you around and show you Chinatown, and then you'll stop in for dinner there as well. You'll also get to see the beautiful Stanley Park, and if you turn around from this view and you look back behind you, you see the seawall of Vancouver and the high rises in the background. Again, every time you turn around on this trip, you're seeing something magnificent. And can't forget Gastown, and this is a gas-powered clock. So I think it's every 30 minutes, but it may be every 15, I forgot. It will go off and you'll see the steam coming out of the top of the clock, and it's definitely something to see. It's probably the most frequently photographed clock in the world because it's such a unique sight. You'll also get to visit Granville Island Public Market, which is a great place to grab lunch if you're hungry or grab a snack. There's lots of shopping and fresh fruit and vegetables, fudge, everything you can imagine can be seen right there. And that night, you will toast to the end of a wonderful trip with all of your new friends that you've met along the way. Any questions about that one, or would y'all rather me wait till the very end? I'll keep going. The next trip is British Landscapes, September 22nd through October 1st, 2024. This also takes you to one of my favorite places in the world, and you get to start there. This is also a level 2, so expect some walking, but you'll also, walking uneven grounds, especially in this part of the world. There's going to be some cobblestone, some steps, very few handrails and things like that. So just you'll want to grab a friend's hand to walk upstairs or hold onto walls. You will spend 2 to 3 miles walk 2 or 3 miles over the course of the day with lots to see, and maybe a flight or 2 of stairs in some of these different buildings. This is a trip that is accessible for people that need mobility assistance devices. However, occasionally you may need to sit out of an activity or something just because it's of the terrain. But overall, it's a pretty easygoing trip. You'll start in Edinburgh, Scotland, which is one of my top 5 favorite places in the world. You'll head out to York, Chester, Stratford-upon-Avon, and then finish in London. So the tour opens in Edinburgh, which is one of the most beautiful cities, as I mentioned, in the world. You'll see the medieval crossroads and vibrant modern energy just blend seamlessly. And it is incredible how you've got these historic buildings mixed with modern buildings and the parks. And you've got the Royal Mile, that's from the mile between the palace and the castle. And all along the Royal Mile are these incredible little stores that look like something out of a Harry Potter movie. And actually, I think J.K. Rowling spent some time in Edinburgh while writing the novel as kind of inspiration for it. And if you have any Scottish ancestry, you can pop into the tartan stores and find your family plaid if that's something of interest to you. You'll have an option for a Scottish cultural show if you choose to add that to your itinerary, where you'll get to enjoy a Scottish feast and get, of course, a show by our favorite performers. The next day, you will stop at Jedburgh, a historic royal burgh dating back to the 17th century. Pretty magnificent architecture, if you ask me. You'll also see the medieval city of York, surrounded by its historic walls. And if you choose, there's a Yorkshire vineyard wine tasting and dinner. I did notice a little pattern in some of these. There's lots of wine tasting in the trips, if you choose to partake. So if you want, you can have the night on your own to explore, or you can join an optional tour and enjoy some English wines over dinner. The next morning is at your leisure, so whether you choose to sleep in and relax or get out and explore the town, you may do that. You may find yourself wandering around the labyrinth of quaint Snickleways, which is their narrow little streets, or maybe visit the city's famous minster. You'll also enjoy the day in Chester, your home for the next 2 nights, where you will see the walls enclose charming Tudor and Victorian homes. Chester was founded by the Romans, 79 AD, and is the most complete city walls in Britain, built by the Romans, and today a walk over about 2 miles. You choose to do the whole walk. You'll discover the charms of the city with your local guide and later meet the locals with tales about life in Chester, past and present. And then there's also a choice on tour for this one. You can either go to the Carnarvon Castle or take a guided stroll seeking out local shops, cafes, and markets. Whichever tickles your fancy, it's up to you. But isn't that just an adorable little town? I think the sights are amazing. As you journey through Wales, you will see castles, market towns, picturesque villages, mountains, slate mines, and sheep. You may also hear the beautiful Welsh language spoken. And if you have trouble understanding them, just ask them to repeat themselves, because it's always fun to get the native tongue when you can. You'll also step back on a journey through the English countryside of Stratford-upon-Avon, which is the birthplace of Shakespeare, England's most famous playwright. You'll also see the home that he was born in his childhood home. Well, childhood and born there. He had inherited the home from his parents, so he lived there throughout his life. And that night, you will join your fellow travelers for dinner and think about all the wonderful memories you had. And the next day, you will bid adieu to Stratford and travel to the charming city of Oxford, one of the most famous university cities in the world. The city was founded in the 10th century, and Oxford has nicknamed it the City of Dreaming Spires because of the striking towers all over the city. Upon your arrival, it's your choice. How will you uncover iconic Oxford? You can go to the Ashmolean Museum, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, which was opened in 1682 as the first public museum for Britain. It has a collection ranging from Egyptian mummies to contemporary art, so quite the variety of things to see there. Or you can explore Oxford on foot during a guided walking tour, and you'll see some of the recognizable landscapes, including locations that were used in the filming of Harry Potter. And then on to London for a tour of the city's quintessential sites. You'll begin with a walking tour for Westminster, where you will see Big Ben, the Houses of Parliament, and Westminster Abbey. And technically, Big Ben is just the clock, and the tower is known as the Elizabeth Tower. The House of Parliament, located on the riverbank, serves as a meeting place for the House of Commons and the House of Lords. It's also a place that is owned by the monarchy and retains its status of royal residence through generations and available for ceremonial purposes. Westminster Abbey is the coronation church of Britain's monarchs from William the Conqueror to King Charles III, which of course we all know happened fairly recently. The Abbey is also home to many royal weddings, including the marriage of Prince William and Kate Middleton. Then you'll continue on to Buckingham Palace, the official residence of His Majesty. Next, you'll make your way to Trafalgar Square, one of London's most vibrant spaces in the heart of the city. And you'll have the afternoon to explore on your own. And this is the evening that you toast the end of a wonderful journey during a farewell dinner. For that trip, if you want to do an extension to Paris, that is also available while you're there. Oops, excuse me. Alpine Lakes and Scenic Trains, April 24th through May 4th of 2025, which seems like a four way off, but it'll be here before we know it. Time seems to be flying by. So you'll climb aboard legendary Alpine railways and set out on a journey across the captivating Alpine landscapes of Switzerland and Italy. You will start in Zurich, go to Zermatt, go to the Lago Maggiore, St. Moritz, finish in Lucerne, and then fly out of Zurich again. And again, this is a level 2 out of 4. So it's a pretty easygoing trip. It is meant to, for people who like a balanced approach to travel, sightseeing, seeing what's out there, but also having some time to explore on your own or catch up on sleep or just relax at a cafe and have coffee while looking at an incredible view. Welcome to Switzerland's largest city, Zurich. Enjoy some free time exploring the charming old town or one of its many museums. It also has a bike rental system, so if you're a little more adventurous and want to rent a bike for the afternoon, you can do that and just ride around and see the sights. That evening, you'll get together with your fellow travelers over a welcome dinner. And I don't think I've mentioned this, but you will have a tour manager with you for every one of these trips for the entirety of the trip. So they're there, they play concierge, problem solver, suggestion giver, anything you need, they're there and available to you to give suggestions or help in any way. The next day, say good morning to Zurich with a walking tour of the city. A local guide will teach you about the history and the facts, and you'll make a few sweet shop stops along the way because you don't want to miss the chocolate when you're in Switzerland. And then you will treat your taste buds for more flavors of Zurich for lunch and some free time. That afternoon, it's all aboard, and you will board the train and head off to Zermatt, and you will see the Andermatt to experience the world-renowned Glacier Express train. You will traverse bridges and tunnels and keep an eye out for any wildlife, goats that you may see on the way. You'll complete your day in the unique Carless village of Zermatt. It's a pedestrian village, so you don't have to worry about looking both ways, although bike riders may still get you. So maybe look both ways, but you'll have an incredible backdrop to a beautiful little village. The next day, you will start your morning with a tour manager-led tour with the quaint village of Zermatt. And you'll also have some time that afternoon to explore on your own. Zermatt started as a ski town and started as a small farming area and then grew into a ski town. So it's definitely one of those places that during the winter months, you'll have people flying in from all over the world to experience the slopes there. The next day, you will depart Zermatt and head towards Italy. You'll enjoy scenic mountain views on a drive through the Simplon Pass. And that was a trading area between Switzerland and Italy for generations. You'll continue on to Lago Maggiore, a tranquil resort area with crystal waters against the backdrops of the Alps. This is the second largest lake in Italy and has a mild climate year-round. And then you'll take time to stroll the cobblestone streets of Stresa. Stresa was inspired by artists and writers for centuries. You'll step into a local wine shop where the family teaches you about all of Italy's local specialties and invites you to try some. You will stay here for the next 3 nights. The next day, the entire day is yours to explore. You may want to soak in the sun along the waterfront or relax in an outdoor cafe. Perhaps you'll take an optional tour to the picture-perfect Lake Orta, which is a hidden gem. This will take you through a guided tour through Sacramonte chapels and built on a scenic location above the lake as pilgrimage sites for those who could not afford the journey to Jerusalem. As the evening approaches, you'll board a private boat for a cruise to Isla di Pescatori. On the island, you'll toast to an Italian experiences during a dinner at a local restaurant. And then the next day, you have choice on tour. You can either join the Verbania garden tours and wander through the enchanted gardens of the Villa Taranto, or you may choose to go to the museum where you will see some of Tubescoy, I think I'm messing that one up, who was born in that area in 1866, so you'll see some of his artwork. That afternoon, you will set sail to Isla Bella, known as the beautiful island, and you'll have a guided tour through the Borromeo Palace, a lakeside Baroque beauty that offers exotic gardens for you to walk through. The next day, you will experience the sweeping coastal views on your drive to the picturesque shores of Lake Como during your full morning bus transfer. So that's going to be a long morning on the bus, but it's going to be worth it with the spectacular views and the scenic railways that are along that area. And who knows, if you're in Lake Como, you may run into that handsome George Clooney. So keep your eyes out for him too. And then you'll take a journey through the Bernina Express en route to St. Moritz. St. Moritz is another well-known ski resort area in Switzerland, kind of a playground for the rich and famous in its winter months. It was named after St. Maurice, a Roman that was murdered there in the 3rd century. It was also the home of the 1928 Olympics and one other year, but it's escaping me right now. Slow and steady wins the race today. Enjoy a leisurely start in St. Moritz before heading to Lucerne, the Swiss paradise on the lake. In Lucerne, enjoy a walking tour of the old town, follow the ancient pathways of the well-preserved buildings, and allow romantic architecture and charming statues to welcome you into its beauty. Lucerne has more than 800 years of history, so walk along the Chapel Bridge, which was built in 1365, and see the famous 14th century paintings depicting Lucerne's history. You also want to notice that the adjacent water tower has served as a prison, watchtower, and treasury over the years. Day 10, you will enjoy the splendor of pure nature while gliding over clear landscapes and a panoramic panoramic gondolas, and spectacular cable cars. And then that night, again, you gather for a farewell dinner with your travel friends and enjoy Swiss specialties. Now, Alaska Discovery Land and Cruise. I'll give you a little information about this one, but we have not released dates or pricing for this yet. It's a little far out for us, but it will be a trip that is in July of 2025, and it is another favorite. So you will start out in Fairbanks, Alaska. You will spend a couple days exploring Denali National Park. Then you will head down a little further south and board a Holland American cruise for the next few days. You will finish out in Vancouver. So you will need a passport for this one because you are going into Canada. The overall activity level for this one is a level 1. So you are a leisurely traveler. You like to enjoy the views, relax, and come home more refreshed than when you left. The tour opens in Fairbanks, the largest city of the interior of Alaska. The city was founded as a temporary trading post in the 1900s and was converted into a permanent one after the gold rush kind of threw it on the map even more famously. The city is fondly known as Fairbanks, Alaska's Golden Heart. That morning, you'll step aboard an amazing cruise on the popular Sternwheeler Discovery, a historic steamboat that tradition says dates back to the late 1800s. And you'll cruise the river and take in some of the majestic scenery. You'll set off by motor coach to see the Denali National Park, where you will want to keep your camera out because the wildlife, hopefully, will make its debut for you to see. You'll want to keep your eyes peeled for Alaska's Big Five, which include antelope, deer, all of our antlered friends out there. Maybe even a grumbling grizzly bear if we get lucky. After that, you'll arrive at the rustic hotel with mountainscapes in the background, and you'll stay there for a couple nights. You'll enjoy the musical performance of the stories that talk about the history of the Denali, followed by dinner. The next morning, you'll travel deep into Denali National Park and begin your tundra wilderness tour. You'll have the best opportunities to see wildlife. And you'll get stories, narrated tour and stories about the park and its wildlife, and get the best views of Stony Hill Overlook. Oops, excuse me. You'll get to view some of the incredible landscape in a glass ceiling domed rail car. Open air observation platforms as the rails guide you. Rail guides provide expert commentary. You'll head to the Talkeetna Alaskan Lodge, where you'll stay the night. The rustic, comfy Alaskan Lodge offers spectacular scenic views. You'll have the night to spend at your leisure. The next day, you will depart for the ship. So you'll stop along the way in Anchorage, Alaska's largest city. It enjoys up to 19.5 hours of daylight during the summer. Not that many during the winter. You'll go to the Alaska Wildlife Conservation Center with a local guide and discover where orphaned and injured bears, wolves, porcupines, and moose are cared for on the 200-acre rehabilitation site. After, you'll arrive in Whittier. The small town is a port to the Alaskan Marine Highway. Then you will board your ship for the next 7 nights. It, as I mentioned, is a Holland American cruise. You take advantage of everything the ship has to offer. Incredible food, entertainment, and of course, scenery. The ship cruises past the Hubbard Glacier, one of Alaska's advancing glaciers. This is a tidewater glacier, which is known for the calving of large chunks of ice, so you'll just see them falling into the water. Keep your cameras ready again, because you don't want to miss that. You'll go, the glaciers in Glacier Bay are remnant of the last of the park's 4 glacial periods. You'll go to Skagway, where you'll relive Alaska's gold rush days. This historic town lives on in spectacular natural settings and cries of gold for the Yukon. You'll get to explore Juneau, Alaska's capital, and see its beauty. Despite being the capital, this remote city can only be reached by boat or seaplane. It's a little different world than what we're used to, with interstates connecting us to everything. You'll also go to Saskatchewan, Alaska's most southern city. And the cruise ends in the vibrant Canadian city of Vancouver, leaving you with wonderful memories and your tour to the last of the great frontiers. So those are the 4 trips that we have planned through the middle of 2025. So I'll jump back and talk a little bit more about Collette. The Alaskan trip will be in July. Yes, ma'am. It is 12 days, I believe. Let me jump back there and let you know. Sure. She was asking how long. It is 12 days. She was asking when the Alaskan trip will be, which will be in July of 2025. We just do not have the dates and pricing for that just yet. Or brochures for that. Correct. That'll all come out when we have the dates and pricing. And almost back. Collette offers the best travel insurance in the industry. We allow for you to cancel up to the day before departure, and the only thing that you lose is the cost of the insurance. Everything else will be refunded to you. It also covers you while you're on tour for medical assistance, evacuation, baggage loss, or baggage delay. So it's there to help you. What I do like to mention that's very important is keep your receipts, because just like any insurance policy, in order to get refunded, they want you, or to get paid out, they want you to provide the receipts. So just keep those with you, whether it's medical expenses or buying clothes because your luggage got lost. Just keep those receipts with you. Collette recently came out with a new loyalty program. It's the Passport Club. So the more you travel with us, the better your discounts moving forward are. So a level 1, you've completed 1 to 2 tours with us, you receive 5% loyalty credit. And then level 3 or Explorer, if you've completed more than 3 with us, you get an additional dollar amount off of each trip. No, because at that point you're going to be too far out. It's typically 24 months. I wish that was the case, but it's going back a little further than we can pull. Passports and visa, depending on the trip, you will either, actually for this one, you will need a passport for every trip. You will need, for, as of now, by the time the Alaska trip comes along, you will need your real ID. So your driver's license will have a star on it that says that you're real ID compliant. It's a U.S. Requirement that they're moving to. Now, having said that, they have had many dates that's supposed to go into effect, and every time they get close, they push it back. So it was 2021, 23. Now they're saying 25. So we'll see. But as of now, that's the date the program's supposed to go live. You will also have this visa requirement starting in 2024 for some of the European Union countries. It's a very simple process. It's only about $7 or $8. You go online for the website, you'll complete the information, and within, I believe it's 72 hours, you should have your visa, unless there are any issues, and they'll notify you to have that corrected. But I'm hearing, again, much like our real ID, they kept pushing this one back. They're saying January 2024. So that's what we're sharing with everyone. However, it may get pushed back again. We don't know yet. And that's it. I'm happy to answer questions or go over anything if y'all have any more questions.
One question regarding the Canadian trip. It says for bookings made after January 2nd, call for rates. So do the rates
Yes,
dramatically
I'm glad
change?
you asked that. I will
Thank
pull
you.
up just one of the trips to show what she's referring to. I will. It says on, and I think she's specifically asking for the first one, but you'll see on this page where it says if booked by, and there is a date, and this applies to it. Well, the date will vary based on the trip, but that is the date that our contracts are good with the airlines and the hotels. So that pricing is guaranteed through that date. If you decide after that date that you want to go, the pricing will likely go up just because the airlines are not guaranteeing us that booked grouped rate anymore. So my suggestion is always try and book before that date. All you have to do is put your deposit down, and if you want the insurance, we recommend putting the insurance payment down at the same time you book. The deposits vary for each trip. They will be in the brochures. Typically, the deposit is $698. The cruise one for Alaska, which isn't out yet, may be slightly different because of the cruise line. The deposits are typically $698. The insurance varies. Domestically, it's usually $349 for the insurance. International, it's typically $449. There are not any requirements, health, age, it's all the same price regardless. That, if booked by date, is very important for two reasons. One, the pricing can change, but two, if you cancel before that date, you get your insurance and all of the money you've put towards the trip back. If you cancel after that date, your insurance goes into effect and you get everything minus the insurance back. Because at that point, we've already contracted with the airlines and hotels. We've agreed on using the space. So again, you can cancel both the day before that date and get every dime back. After, you can cancel up into the day before departure, and all you lose is the insurance. But that is the date where those rates are guaranteed. So if you book after that date, space may not be available, and the price will likely be higher. Not always, but typically the airlines want to get as much as they can. It is. That is the seat reduction date. Does that answer your question?
I think so. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes,
Leslie, I don't know if you can see the chat.
I do. I'm looking at it now.
Okay, thank you.
What is the mode of transportation in the Canada trip? Most of the time on our tours, you will be traveling by motor coach, which is how you will be on these tours, unless it's one where it specifically states that there's a train. Yes, sir. Yes, absolutely. I'm glad you asked that question. The question was, can you extend out on one of the trips for your departure or arrival city? So either way, if you want to go in a week early, or if you want to stay a week after the tour ends, you just, when you book with Collette, you just want to let them know that, so we can go ahead and make that for you. But typically the price will not change if you want to extend a week or so. Yes, ma'am. You can. You absolutely, you can do that. Of course, the price will be different because you won't have the airfare included. So Collette can provide that information. You'll just call and they can get that for you. You can do that. What I do like to mention with that is you're not going to have, with our air, you have it's a transportation package. So transfers are included. What I recommend doing if you're going to do that, there's a small fee, and I don't know what it is for each trip, but it's, I think, less than $100 per person. There's a transfer package that you can purchase. I would do that just that way. When you get to the airport in whichever city you're going to, you have someone there to pick you up and take you to the hotel. You're not having to worry about cabs or Uber or anything like that. They'll be there. It's a car service, and they'll bring you to the hotels, things like that. No, you can do that. Absolutely. that's just one of those things that you'll need to let Collette know when you book the trip, so that they can add that night on for you, and they'll give you pricing for that as well. Absolutely.
How many are usually in a travel group?
1 minute through the Zoom. I'm going to answer one question and then I'll come back to that question. Repeat your question. I'm sorry. Luggage. Once, that's another great question. Thank you. I feel like, you work for Collette in the back and you're kind of like pinpointing great things for me to say. At the airport, you'll have to get your own luggage, and that's really because you have to go through border control, customs, all that. So you'll have to have your own luggage there. Once you bring it to the bus, so we'll have a motor coach pick you up. Once you get on the bus, so airport to airport, the beginning and the end, you'll have someone handling your luggage for you, but you'll have to get it to the motor coach initially at the airport. And then once you get to the airport to go home, you will also have to take your luggage from that point and bring it into the airport. But what they will tell you to do each time you're moving from hotel going to the next location, they'll tell you what time to have your luggage out in the hallway, and it'll be your large suitcase. So the large suitcase will be the one that you check under the plane, and then you'll just bring your carry-on down yourself. But yes, we do offer that service for you once you get through the airport side of it. Okay.
That question was from Janet. I think she was asking how many people are normally in a tour group.
The max number is 44. We average about 38 on each tour. Correct. So that was the number of people on each tour. The max number is on average 44. And then the max number is 44 for most of our trips. On average, it's about 38 people. What is the cost for the double for the British landscape trip? Where can we get the brochures? Is it electronically on your website?
Yes.
Gina said yes. So the brochures can be found on the website, LifeQuest of Arkansas website. The pricing, I will go back. And okay, and the paper brochures are in Leah's office. British landscapes. So the double per person, where am I? The double per person is $3,849. That includes airfare and 12 meals. Any more questions? It is, and it's the one time, and it should be good for multiple years. You would be fine, and so it should be good for both. Yes. Again, they're kind of changing things as we go, so that's what our understanding is now. But I believe it's good for 2 years. So
What was his question?
For the visa that they're going to start requiring in 2024, if you do it for one trip, is it good for if you do multiple trips for this? And I believe it's going to be good for 2 years. So as many times as you go in 2 years, it should cover you.
Thank you.
That's correct. That's correct. They, it's my understanding that they'll still require you to have a passport, but you'll have to have this in addition. And additionally, I don't believe England's requiring it, but possibly. I'll get back with you on that to make sure I have that correct answer for you. Absolutely. You're welcome to contact me, or if y'all want to send them through Leah, and she can collect all of them and send them to me, and I can respond to all of them. That's the Collette number. So that's going to call into group services, where you will call to make your reservations if you don't want to do them online. Correct. and you'll just call them. It takes about 15, maybe 20 minutes max to get the reservations completed and get you all set up. And the whole time is typically about 2 to 3 minutes. So it's not a long process. My number is 337-412-0188. Really? That's wonderful.
Hey, Leslie,
See some more coming. Yes.
did I understand you to say that the British Wales Scotland trip might be a good one for people with accessibility issues?
Yes, actually, all of these are, because they are a good pacing trip. It's nothing too strenuous. So anything level 1 or 2 is doable for people who have mobile devices. There may occasionally be something that they choose to sit out of because it's not going to be as easy. But yes, all of these are good trips for that. Sometimes, I mean, we've got some that are level 3 and 4 that are hiking through snow that I don't recommend for anyone who doesn't train.
When you say level 1 and 2, you still need to be able to step up into a tour bus and take care of your own luggage at the airport.
That is correct.
Okay.
You should be able to walk a flight or 2 of steps, 2 to 3 miles over the course of a day, but it is a slower paced trip. So there is time to, stop, relax, catch your breath, take a little pause, but you still will encounter cobblestone streets, possibly stairways without handrails. The American Disability Act is not a thing in Europe, so it's still a little challenging for some people to get around because they don't have the requirements for handrails, ramps, elevators that the U.S. has put into place. And some of these buildings are quite honestly just too old to modify in such a way, unfortunately.
But for instance, the Alaska tour or anything that's in America will serve that community a little better.
Correct. The Alaska tour is also a level 1. So it's very much it's a laid back trip. There's not going to be much, I mean, you still do have to climb in and out of the motor coach, but it's not going to be as demanding as the 2, 3, or 4. And because you spend more time on the cruise ship, that also gives you a little more freedom to go at your own pace.
Okay, thank you.
I just wanted to say, this is Leah. We have had 10 people in this room, another 10 on Zoom. This will be on our LifeQuest Facebook page if you missed me saying that. And so if you have friends or neighbors that want to see it, or you missed that date, or you missed that price, the recording will be on the LifeQuest of Arkansas Facebook page. You can see information about Collette on our website as well under trips. And then I can help connect you with Leslie. And that's about all I do. I don't handle any money. I don't handle any reservations. I don't handle any luggage. You don't want me to, okay? We trust the experts here, and that is Leslie Bate. But I will help connect you to her via email, and she's always been very great. I'm sure she has hundreds of people that she's dealing with, but she's been very accessible to us, and I just really appreciate you making time between Ireland and Marrakesh to come to Little Rock to speak with us today. And I'm sure she'll stick around if there's any more specific questions. I have brochures out there. The only brochure I don't have yet is Alaska, because that is in July of 25, and they're still working on some details, but we'll be getting that to you as well. And so I guess if you have any additional questions, if you're in the room, stay after. Zoomers, thank you for being here. Contact me, Leah Greenfield, in the LifeQuest office, and I'll connect you with Leslie for any other follow-up questions.
Leah reminded me of one last thing. Thank you, Leah. Deposit which we went over earlier, deposit, and insurance. If you want insurance, get your spot reserved. You have until 2 months before departure to finish paying for the trip. So you do not have to write a lump sum when you sign up. You can pay a little over time. So thank y'all so much. And yes, absolutely. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll be happy to answer. And if I don't have an answer, I'll get one for you. Thank
right.
you. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye.